Hello, Cosmic here, and welcome back to another Legends of Runeterra video. Today we're going to be talking about Corina Control, but also thinking about how this lines up in set 2. So, as I mentioned in an earlier video, going to be trying to aim for about 2 videos a week. One is going to be a bit more polished, a bit more of how I like them to be presented, kind of offline setting. And the other one is going to be a mix of kind of that lead-in discussion and then just some games ripped from the stream. So if you like one format over the other, definitely let me know in the comments. If there's a way to improve on them, be more than happy to do so. But just with time constraints and whatnot, I kind of want to do this one a little bit more, in client, as it were. So what is Corina Control, right? Let's start there. If you haven't been playing a lot of the ladder lately, or just maybe you haven't seen it, it's a P&Z and Shadow Isles control deck featured around the namesake of the deck, which is really going to be Corina. This is a very late game card, but ultimately what it comes into play and does, it's a one-sided board wipe. So yes, you have to obliterate the top 5 cards of your deck, which again is going to be more of a mill option, but it has the ability to be a one-sided board wipe. Now, if we think about Maokai, the difficult part here is that he is also working against your overall deck size. However, if we think about how frequently you're going to be tossing things and typically how quick it's going to be to level up Maokai, I think this is really just a great late game insurance. And, obviously this is something that's going to be needing testing, but it's just a very strong card, and he wants to be in a more control-y list anyway. So I think at least for the games that you're about to see, right, we have so many ways to generate spiders. There's multiple ways you can help level him up with quite a bit of ease, and really this just serves as a card that's going to help you against a lot of matchups in terms of just getting the board presence back and making sure that you're not just dying to a very go-wide strategy, right? Typically, if your opponent's playing a deck like spiders, for example, they're going to be a lot of low HP, so you don't necessarily even have to high roll on this, so to speak. You don't have to always hit the 5, but sometimes just hitting for 3 spell cards is good enough. And the thing that's important to note about this is that it also hits the Nexus. Now, I'd like to say that, typically when you have a deck, it's nice to have some kind of backup plan or just kind of alternate win con, right? So with Maokai, you obliterate your opponent's deck, but then they still have a few turns. I think this is still a way that lets you be aggressive in your type of list. And then still, again, it has the advantage of playing into your control strategy that you really want to. So Corina definitely is relevant today because she's so strong in what she does. And then just having a 6/6 body, right? A 6/6 stats is very strong in the current meta. Just any health above 4 is generally a good spot. Going above, let's say, Hearth Guards, which are a 5/5, is a good spot to be. So generally, you're going to be able to board wipe your opponent, at least kill 1 unit, and then generally either hit for 6 more damage to their face or kill yet another unit. So really, Corina just kind of goes the distance here in terms of the value that you can generate with it. Now, again, the downside is that you generally want to have about 27 spells in your deck or more, so you do have to have a very spell heavy focus, but overall I think it's a fine spot to be. The other card that's worth mentioning here, at least for a late game option, right, if you've been playing Legends of Runeterra, it's really no surprise that Commander Ladros is just a beast of a card. It doesn't always kind of, feel as good in this list because there are times where you just have a very aggressive spider opener. And yes, even though that you're a control deck, you'll hit Brood Awakening, maybe you hit 2 of them, and then suddenly your opponent's at, 8 life and you have a Ladros in hand. It's like, all right, I guess I can hit them for 4, right? But that's not what you want to spend 9 mana on the vast majority of the time. So obviously, this is really playing to the strengths of if the game goes long enough. Let's say your opponent was playing a very controlly like Freljord, freeze all your stuff, you can't get in for damage easily, then yes, Ladros is going to feel great. It's going to come down, deal the 10 damage if they're at 20 ricks, it halves it, and get you back into where you can very quickly close out the game. Really, it's a late game, high impact card where, again, I personally prefer Corina because it helps you clear the board, gets rid of a lot of those go wide types of strategy while still allowing you to be aggressive, right? Where this, it's nice sometimes they kill as it goes back to your hand, you can replay it for the effect, but depending on the matchup, 9 is just a lot to pay in this case. So very strong late game cards I think are still going to have a place, sometime later within set 2, right? We're less than a week away at the time of recording this. And I think that at least initially, right, people will want to try out new cards, and obviously with the again, time of recording this, we still have 5 unknown Shadow Isles cards and 5 unknown P&Z cards, which honestly, I would be kind of shocked if they didn't play into this type of deck, right? We saw at least Gotcha for the P&Z spoilers, which gives you the better unit burn, so it deals 3 damage versus Mystic Shot that only does 2, but, Mystic Shot also has good value because it deals 2 damage to face. So I'm assuming that there's going to be other kind of either removal or effects, right, that you want to be playing, because anytime you have a good spell, you want to be putting it in this list, generally speaking, as long as it helps work towards your end game plan. And one of the other things I like to note here is just really kind of the life gain options, right? Especially right now, aggro is in a very strong spot. A lot of people are playing even spiders, and Withering Whale can just help clean up the board. Plus, it's going to gain you 3 life, right? So if we combine this also with Grasp of the Dying, you're seeing that we also have a lot of life gain in this deck. And then also, if we think about then tying this back into what I was talking about earlier with the spoilers, we also then have the Thorny Toad, which is going to then obviously work into Maokai's level up. You want him to die because he's going to heal your Nexus. And a 1/4 blocker, right? If they're playing obviously Fearsome or something, it's not going to feel as good, but generally because of that 4 HP, you're able to get 2 blocks. And depending on the matchup, right, if they have more Fearsome units, it's going to be bad, where if they're just playing that go wide strategy, you're going to have a better effective health total. Now, about, what was it, though, 6 weeks into Legends of Runeterra, right, we saw the Fearsome mid-range list, which was just Shadow Isles, good cards, and Hecarim everywhere. I think that list can come back in some form if we see a lot of these like low value blockers, then just because Fearsome can go over the top, right? And Callista, another name card here, got a recent buff, and a lot of people have been playing it more, and that's a very aggressive Fearsome unit. You know, if you drop a Thorny Toad and they follow with a Callista, you go, oh, that's feels really bad, because that 4 attack is going to hit you for a lot. But again, that's why you then rely on, you know, kind of on your spells and kind of your backup package. And the reason, again, why I'm kind of bringing all this together is that if we go over to Brood Awakening, right, and we play Elise, we play Vile Feast. I won't get too much into the, you know, the spider package, as it were, but Shadow Isles being it both great for the aggro, mid-range, or control list, right? Depending on how you build out the rest of your deck, the spider package is just very, very solid to include. But then what I also like about Brood Awakening is that this is 3 more cards, because it's 3 spiders that are going to die at some point, that go into Maokai's level up. So this is, you know, a +3 when you play it, and then generally just it's very good at holding off those more aggressive strategies. And then thinking about the other spider, namely, is going to be Frenzy Skitterer. This is really great that it can, if they have, again, the go wide strategy, you can -1 their entire board. So if they have like 5 or 6 units, you get a lot of value out of this. The downside is that it has 2 health. And let me tell you, that 2 HP, I have absolutely felt it in the current meta and how relevant that is instead of the 3 HP it used to have. So thinking about the new spoiler that we have, right, the 3/2 toss, it also works with Maokai. Obviously, it's not going to feel as great as maybe a direct replacement, but then the trade-off there is that you're getting more life gain on top of it, right? And if you're going to be playing like Mark of the Isles, right, you have other ways to pump it, you can then help increase your effective life total over the course of the game. And then, again, plus it kind of works into his overall shell. And then, again, Vile Feast, another card that gives you more HP. It's going to ping a unit, which can kill a lot of stuff currently, and then also give you another spiderling that can die. So, you know, in today's meta, I think this is just a fine list overall. It does a lot for you, but I think this will be a half-decent shell once we actually get our hands on Maokai. Now, I could, like, go an in-depth review into all the matches that I've had with this list, right? Like, obviously, the matches you high roll where you have, like, Elise getting value, plus you have your multiple Brood Awakenings, yeah, it's going to be super easy to flip him. But beyond that, you do typically play a more unit-light type of deck, right? So that's where the other units that Maokai get support from is going to be relevant. And I want to make a small disclaimer. I put it in the Maokai video, so go back if you want to watch that entire thing for the portion of it. But keep in mind, there's still a 1-cost burst spell that's called Sapling Toss, based on the data mine, that we don't have revealed yet. So in theory, it's going to be like the Shadow Isles Jury Rig. So it's a 1-cost, it'll be a 2/1 Sapling that has Ephemeral and Challenger, that then is also going to be a spell count. So it's really good for Corina, right? Because you want to remain that high spell count. But then it's also giving you a free unit that you can then count towards Maokai's level up, right? So especially if you're thinking about they have, let's say, a Zed on the board, right? And they're playing more defensively. You can play out the burst, get a 2/1 Challenger, kill their Zed, and then that's still going to help you with your level up condition. So is that going to make the cut? I'm not entirely sure, but again, just more understanding of there's other cards that are coming out that are still going to support it, that are also going to be spells that help towards, again, Corina wanting to have a spell-heavy focused deck. Now, there's also, some talks about the heal card. I know a lot of people are excited for that one. It doesn't really find a home in this list, right, because all of your spiders are a lot weaker. You could make the argument, right, oh, well, Ladros and Corina would be nice to heal up, but that's too far in the late game. You probably have the game under control at that point, so it's not going to be as relevant. But I think that might find a home in more of like a Shadow Isles and Freljord type of deck where you have like Hearthguards and just Omen Hawks, right? Then you find easy ways to buff up your team and still get the Maokai value. So it's kind of like the other side of this. I could see both the Omen Hawk type of War Mothers, right? It's kind of the deck that people would say. The War Mother strategy, just because you have big, beefy units, you want to play a unit-heavy list, but then you still have access to things like Harsh Winds, Frostbite, Brittle Steel, which give you the Frostbite effect that you want just to stall out the game a little bit longer. So I've said this a lot on stream, and I might even mention it in the videos coming up here, but I really like the idea of Maokai, unless the new region gives us something very, very spicy. There's a very likely chance I'm going to start with this shell on the 28th. I'm going to remove what I don't like and put in the new cards and go immediately into ladder. So that's at least where I'm at with this overall list. But again, the Elise Spider package just gives you that good early game, and it's really going to come down to how many of these cards can you cut to then try to fit in Maokai, or is it just there's too many cards that we have to cut, so we have to lose out on Corina as well because they don't have that spell package, right? So this is kind of a high-level discussion, more talk in progress, once we find out what those last 10 cards are going to be. And again, 10 cards might not sound like a lot, but any one of them, right, could be good and make us change this entire thing. But again, at least for the 28th, and what I'm going to be focusing on is going to be something like this. So if you want to play a control deck that's not Karma, spoiler, but can still have, a ton of health gain to get past all the Draven aggro decks that are currently floating around, or just like I saw that there was Dawn Spiders was coming back randomly, so another good place where you have a matchup, as long as you have the Thermo Beam for their Dawn Speakers, right? Because it's still an X4 or 1/4 unit that can get very tanky very quickly. So another reason why I'm excited for P&Z over, say, Freljord is that I think Thermo Beam is still just a fantastic card, and especially at the start of a meta, people like to get greedy in terms of what they're playing. So just having a hard removal in the case of this and or Vengeance, I think can be very important in kind of surviving those day 1, day 2 brews. So I think this list is in a fantastic position, both now, right? Play it. It's a very good list if you want to kind of grind out to Masters. It's slower, so it might not be the best for your time investment, but if you like control decks and if you have the patience to learn it and understand like the different lines of play you have, then it's going to reward you for playing it. I think it's a very fine list overall. And then also, again, if you're excited for Maokai, absolutely, I think this is a fine place to start. And I think there's definitely some easy swaps that we can make to make this a little bit better. So that is kind of the high-level overview of it, kind of the discussion around Maokai and where it can go next. But I have a few games that, again, are ripped straight from the stream, so this is just from a time perspective and trying to make sure that I can still, have these discussions about the different decks I want to talk about and get them out at a decent pace, where it's not just one video per week and then nothing. So if you guys like this or the more kind of what I just call it more professional, right? But like the screen background and stuff like that, and kind of the offline recordings where it's more directly just talking about the plays, let me know. I'm happy to provide the best kind of content that I can. But if you guys don't mind this style of video, then I can crank these out a lot quicker because it's significantly less work to do these types of videos, which is probably why a lot of streamers do these types of videos instead. But I like to try to, spice them up a little bit where I can. So that is it. That is the Corina Control deck at a very high level, but also the understanding of how it might evolve into the Maokai list of set 2. And then I have a few games for you guys. So hope you stick around, enjoy those, and until next time, I'll see you guys on Twitch. See ya. But probably have a more chill night, play some games, try to gain some rank, and see how it goes. Certainly not something that we want to see perhaps right off the bat, since they're going to have a lot of value in getting the Ezreal. And maybe the Brood Awakening we can save because it's a more aggressive play. They're going to like immediately stack shock away 2 of them, but it's a good way to get Elise in play and get a flip. So I think this might be an okay pickup. Rest of it, not so much. 2 is certainly interesting, right? Because he's not going to have his own Withering Wail, and Ladros is really nice to see in our opener just because it will be pretty important. But this is a good point where we can just kind of stall out the game and delay their Ezreal from leveling up. So we are actually just going to kind of play this out and, wait for them to do something first.
I got ways to find mushrooms.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now this is an opportunity, right? We're at 8. So we can actually shoot that and then play our spiders for a go wide, and like they, probably hit 1. I think this is fine. Again, definitely a little bit more of an aggressive play, but I also don't want this to connect. And this way, like, if he blocks, he hits it. He can't static shot us, right? Yep, so that's fine. And again, in a big way, you just kind of want to delay this as much as you can. But we can go into this, and we can go into another Brood Awakening if we really want to, right? Yep. Hopefully that's not too loud. And then, right, like a static shock into attacking would make me sad. Yep, kind of expected here. It's just how much do I want to bet that he has more static shocks, right? Like, that's ultimately what this comes down to. Where I could just play, like, the Skitter and then play Brood Awakening. I don't know if their new list plays... if their new list plays the Avalanche or not is the real question. I'm gonna go ahead and rip this out. Like, I don't know this list well enough to say which way it should go, but there's a good chance I'm just supposed to be passing right while I can. Wow, he is really all in on those, which is fine, right? Because I guess he's got to kind of be, you know, play. That's his out here, right? Which means that's probably. Man, he's used a lot already, so it could just be like another static shock. So I guess like we have to do this into Thermo Beam just to try to get more damage in. Yep. Is this a friendly stream? I'd like to think that it is. This switch is 4 damage. I guess he could have another Mystic Shock, right? Man. And now he's 1 away from leveling. Man, he really does just have the full suite. Okay. So I played this poorly. And it's probably just going to be his game now. How you doing, though, KTP? There's a grasp, at least. So now, you know, it really doesn't matter if we play the spiders out here. That's good, man. Did you get the test results back today, or is that tomorrow? I forget. Again, I'm in the void of time, as it were.
These old eyes still see far.
So now we're supposed to do like a Withering Wail into this instead. It's awkward. All right, we've probably lost now. I messed this up. There's always a chance like he doesn't draw it, right? Which is kind of a rough spot to try to be in. And now we're 1 turn away from these. Tomorrow? All right, well, good luck with everything tomorrow then. Just wait and see what they do first, I guess.
There's a scent in the air. Counter fortune.
Gosh, they could just have another one. Letting him draw a card feels pretty bad too. Alright, didn't matter. I was really hoping to get him low enough so that the Ladros plus like getting some burn it would matter. The testing facility was very interesting. What, just because everybody is like all robed up and stuff? Or protected gear up, I should say. Again, just trying to prevent as much damage here as we can. He still has 8 burn in hand just as is. Feels pretty rough, but Ladros into an open attack here might be decent. Again, he's probably gonna have things like Harsh Winds, right? So Harsh Winds is still negative for us. But then we can just do Ladros into Mystic Shot. So I don't think we played the second one yet. This is probably a harsh winds from our opponent. Yep. The problem is we're going to be off by 1 now. So maybe we were supposed to go on the wide here. He could still drop Ezreal, I guess. I don't think there's like really much we can do here, right? It's like we have 3 get exciteds left, so we wait for them to chain off and then try to kill them past that. Nope, that's not it. Oof. All right, looks like he just doesn't have it. So he could still technically play the Ezreal and burn us out from here, depending on what he draws. So that could be bad. A guy in full hazmat suit hands you mask and gloves and direct you over to the swap. And then direct you over to get to the... Yeah, I've heard about the swab, and that just does not sound like a good time at all for anybody. 10 out of 10, not a fan. We're going to do this because we're just going to go for an open attack. And we can still play like Grasp to kill this. And then if he plays Ezreal with the rest of his mana, we could then use Thermo Beam. So there should just be a pickup on this, and we should have this one. Also, I don't know if you saw, did I post it? I don't think I posted in the Discord, but wait, this is only a 2-3, so don't we just kill this then, and we're fine? Anyway, so apparently Georgia is supposed to reopen everything on Friday, like all businesses, you know, back to it. It's just like, what is going on anymore, man?
This would be a good winter.
All right, so, my God, what is our... Like, we literally just need any one of these to connect at this point. Any one of these connecting plus Mystic Shot should do it. So it has to be like Brittle Steel plus Harsh Winds. And I would cry if it is. Or just drawing our other burn spell at this point. It's gonna be exactly Harsh Winds, Brittle Steel, isn't it? So, the only good part about all this is that we're at 19 and our opponent's running out of cards. I'm literally about to kill my own Ladros, man.
Border from here.
What a game. Yeah, it just sucks because their systems are going to get overloaded now. Okay, perfect. There's a get excited. That's fine. Now we can just do Ladros plus...
I'm so good, I surprised myself.
Mystic Shot.
Time for a true display of skill.
So, 2, 4, 6. I mean, we just try to kill him now then, right? Force him to have something else. There's no... I mean, like, he's not going to have any life. There's no life gain in that deck. That matters. So this should just be... At least in Days of Old, there's no heal. Are you serious? This has got to be my opponent just showing me like, hey, I had this. And we'll kill it for sauce. I'm so happy. We're almost there. So they are playing a all-in standalone deck. I actually have it built as well. It's a what we called Blue-White Delver like a month ago. Shout out to True Dawn FM was actually the one who made the list. And I guess it's back. I guess people want to run it again. So the Thermo Beam is like an auto keep here because they're probably going to go for their all-in save play. Ooh. Ooh, are they playing something else? I guess you probably still play this regardless, right? I guess that's fair. But now this means that they can't do their standalone play. So that's better for us, I think. The double Thermo Beam is kind of awkward, but we have a good Thermo Beam for next turn. It's like, block my spider, I dare you. Block my spider, you coward. Yeah, I don't know. They can't save it with 2, right? It's like Radiant Strike.
My path alone.
Like, this is fine.
Silence.
Did our opponent just, like, miscurve their deck and not know what was important?
We could use a bite.
I wonder how the metal will be in set 2, if it'll be similar to set 1 with everything, something new. Probably, right? So, like, Swim actually talked about this a little bit on his stream. Gosh darn it. Sorry, I gotta think. So they probably have the standalone now then, which is 6. It's a bit annoying. And I can do that into... I probably have to do, like, Vile Feast and a Brood Awakening. Like, people are playing elusives again, right? Like, so the meta just goes in a circle, and largely that's due to the fact that how region combinations work and kind of like what do people feel like playing for that week. So if anything, it's only going to get more crazy and diverse, right, in terms of what to expect. And I could have gone for the Thermo Beam there, but I'm pretty sure that's just straight bait. So this is probably like a standalone plus protection spell from our opponent. Which we're 1 damage off then, which is kind of a bummer. Yep, there it is.
Strike hard.
Which again, like, sure they have this to play, but I can just buff all my spiders. Like, I can buff my spiders plus get damage on this to still kill it. And maybe this eats a deny, which makes our removal better. Actually, I don't think that list plays deny now that I say that. It's kind of unfortunate. Like, it's just an all-in race kind of battle that we have going on here.
I am the blade in the dark.
Ugh. I mean, I guess he's like sacrificing his Zed. He could have a rally, but then he'd have to like protect his Zed plus battle against these. And if it's a barrier, we can just static shock it instead. And then they go to 2. Unfortunately, we're 1 mana off from like the Ruination. But again, this is what I love about this list. Like, sure, it's a control deck, right? Because you have both Corina and Ladros, but then you have turns like this where it's like mana 6, you might be just be dead, and that's all you could ask for, right? So this is a bummer because we don't have a way to, you know, pop the barrier in a meaningful way. So he's still gonna get the value. So we can sacrifice this now, and that's still so what we deny 7, and this might end up being lethal then. And then if this doesn't work, we probably have to like static shock. Or no, we'd have to do mystic shock because static we can't target our own guy. Change mystic or change static shock to anything, you cowards. Got 4 cards, my guy. Come on. It's like you have a deny for this, or it's just going to connect and we feel great. And like I still have 2 mystic shots, plus I get excited, plus another static shock that we could draw here as well, to just do the gotcha, right? And let's say he has an answer for this, we still get to pop this barrier and then kill it with Thermo Beam. Obviously, I don't want him to gain the life. That's a lot worse for us. Yep. So we could shoot our own guy and then try to... Oh, we could put him to 1, right? Or we can just, like, remove his threat. I think we just kill his unit, right? Because then we still are left with a better board position. And Thermo Beam is a cleanup. Hey, Sunny Pen, thanks for coming through the support. If he didn't deny this, yeah, we could have Mystic Shot and it would have won. But this is now going to go through. So, yeah, we can kill our own unit, or we can just Thermo Beam this. He has 4 cards in hand, like, plus we have Ruination. I'd really like to keep our unit, but I'm pretty sure the Thermo Beam is just the line here. Right, like, he's all tapped out. Would he have? No, because he was above. Oh, shit, you're right. He was at. You're right. You are right, actually. I was. Damn it. This is why you can't rely on the eye like I always do. Yeah. You were right. I'm like, no, it's clearly showing us that he heals up.
Pledge yourself to the shadow.
Oh, God. Is this going to be like another. I mean, I'll call his bluff if he has it. It's unlikely that it has another standalone, but he could have like another Spirit's Refuge or something. I goofed up. You're right. You're right. All right. Well, now it's just good game anyways.
Darkness.
I guess that's I guess we had it either way moment.